everybody, thank you so much for tuning in again. I'm Miss Westwood and this is my second video of my two-part series about effective practice. In my first video, I discussed the when and the what of practicing. So we discussed when do you practice and what should your practice session look like? What should your structure be? In this video, we're going to go one step further and we're going to talk about the how do you practice and the big question, why do we practice? So let's get started.
Music lessons with Miss Westwood. Yay.
The keys to really effective practice are consistency, reflection, and patience. When you are practicing, you should always be listening to yourself and reflecting on your playing. Constructive reflecting is not, oh my gosh, I sound so bad, but rather asking yourself questions and answering them honestly. The most simple question to start with is, was that correct? There are 3 answers to this question. Yes, no, or I don't know. If the answer to this question is yes, great. Now do it 5 times in a row without making an error. If you do make a mistake, be honest with yourself and start back at number 1. Once it is correct, as in right notes in the right spot, you get to ask yourself the next question, which is the really fun bit of, how do I make it better? This is when you get to start thinking about your dynamics and articulation and tone and phrasing and all of the stuff that actually makes music music. Okay, so if you're practicing and your answer to the question of, was that correct, is no, great. Playing music is really hard, so don't get down on yourself if you don't get it right the first time. Identifying if something was incorrect is actually the first step to getting it right. The next question you should ask yourself is, which part was not correct? This could be anything from a note to a couple of beats, a bar, or even more. Once you have identified this, this is when you then spot practice this section. Take it slow to start with, and then as soon as you start getting it right, get it faster and faster and faster, and then integrate it back into its context. Now don't forget, you need to be patient with this. It may not work straight away. It could take days, weeks, or even months, but the more consistently you try, the quicker you will get there. Now the big one, if the answer to your question of, was that correct, is, I don't know, that's okay. Everyone has times when they play something and they just don't know if they got it right or not. Thankfully, there are a couple of ways that we can figure out if we were correct. Number 1, play it again and really pay attention to the sound you are making. This is listening louder than you play. Number 2, play with a metronome. Having that click going is going to tell you straight away if you are too fast, too slow, muddling a rhythm, or if you are correct. Number 3, if you're still finding it's difficult to listen to yourself playing while you're playing because you need to concentrate, why not record yourself? Once you've recorded it, you can listen back to it as many times as you like, and you'll be able to pinpoint the parts that just aren't working. If you're listening to it and you're still not totally sure, why not read along with your music, or sing along, or clap along, or even play along? Number 4, find a recording that you trust and listen to it. I always find that if I'm struggling with something, listening to it just 1 or 2 times is going to remind me what it needs to sound like, and then it puts me straight back on track. If you find that you're still struggling after you've done all of these 4 steps, please feel free to email your teacher and I'll be able to reply with feedback that will help you. A very common thing for young musicians is that they often know which part isn't working, but they're not sure why and they don't feel like they know how to fix it. To solve this by yourself, this is when your patient, reflective questioning starts working. You need to make sure that when you do ask yourself these questions, you answer honestly, because if you don't, there's no point in asking yourself a question. Questions that could be useful are, do I really know this note? Have I definitely got the right fingers down? Am I certain I'm playing this rhythm correctly? Identifying why something isn't working is a really important step into getting yourself back on the right path to finding a solution. Take the time in your practice sessions to think logically about your problem-solving strategies and never be afraid to ask for help. There is a lot to think about when playing a musical instrument, so if you are struggling with a part, why not simplify it? Here's how you break it down. First step, clap it. Get the rhythm right. Step 2, sing it. Make sure you actually know which notes you're supposed to be playing. Step 3, clap and sing it. Get the right notes in the right spot. Step 4, sing with fingers, making sure that you're connecting the note name to the action that you need to make. Step 5, play it on your instrument. Once you've gotten it right once, try and get it correct 5 times in a row. When you're practicing, be honest with yourself. If you find you've been stuck on step 2 for a little while, don't move on to step 3. Be patient, give yourself a bit of time and go over it again. If you find you've been getting really frustrated, it might be time to take a little break from that section and look at something else and then come back to it later on. If you're really frustrated with it, give it a big old circle and look at it tomorrow. The practicing is actually the hardest part about learning a musical instrument, and every great musician has done it. Every musician has struggled, every musician has overcome, and you can too. Finally, let's talk about why we should practice, and it's very, very simple. The more I practice, the better I sound. The better I sound, the more I like it. And the more I like it, the more I want to practice. If you are working at something you don't feel you're good at, it's human nature to not want to do it anymore. What musicians are best at is we take that frustration and we just push straight past it, because we know that with consistent, patient practice, we will get better and better and better. And the better you get, the more you love it, and then the more you want to do it. Playing and practicing a musical instrument teaches you something called resilience. Resilience is very important to have, especially later on in life. It is knowing that even though something is hard right now, it is not impossible. Playing and practicing your musical instrument also helps your problem solving and reflective practice, which can be taken into any walk of life. And finally, the big question, why do we play music? Because it's amazing! As a musician, you get to do so many cool things. You get to go places, meet new people, and make beautiful art for everybody to enjoy. It is the absolute best job, and it doesn't even need to be a job if you don't want it to be. I play with a lot of musicians who are doctors and teachers and flight attendants, and they work at Woolies. Anything and anyone can be a musician if they put the work in. Alright, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to watch it again or rewind or pause any bits that you wanted to go over. I hope some of the stuff I covered was useful and answer some questions that you might have had. If you do still have questions, feel free to contact me and we'll sort them out. Stay safe, practice hard, and be kind to your families. I'll see you next time. Bye.